Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cool Crone. I'm here with my good friend Gerald from TarotStache, and today we are going to talk about lammas. Hi,
Yeah,
Gerald. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
I am so glad to be back. It's always a good time to chat with you because
Yes.
it's one of those things that when you find people who have similar ideas, I get to learn from you as well as, we get to build up excitement. So,
Yeah. And it's funny. You're in Seattle. I'm from Seattle. And were you born and raised in Seattle?
actually, I'm not in Seattle.
Oh,
I'm
where
in
are
I'm
you?
in Ohio.
You're in Ohio. Why did I think you were in Seattle?
I because I'm cool enough to live in Seattle. I don't know.
I think the guy that sold me that last. Oh, I mean, I'm sorry. Okay, never mind.
Oh
Just got
my.
confused. I honestly thought you were in Seattle. I'm from Seattle. I live in New Jersey. Do I know where I am? Yes, I know that I'm in New Jersey.
There you go.
And I wish we were around the corner from each other because it would be so fun. But
I
anyway,
agree.
my
And
kids agree too.
it's times like this, Colleen, it reminds me of the Three of Cups moments, celebrating, being with people, shared ideas, like minds, and it just, lifting each other up. I think it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. But I do think that the world is changing a lot. I've seen that with our coven, the desire to be in person. It may be there in general for people, but people are not coming out in person nearly as much as they used to. And I think, COVID really interrupted that, but it hasn't come back the
No.
way it used to be. So,
No, and I think there's a lot of people who are searching elsewhere rather than meeting people in public. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube, there's TikTok, Facebook, different groups. So there's a whole lot of opportunity to find other places of information. And I'm also wondering, I mean, are there metaphysical stores still around you?
yeah, I haven't been to them in a very long time. There used to be one in town that I think closed maybe just before COVID.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that shop, I think, was like a vanity project for that person,
Mm,
subsidized by her spouse. There is still one in the town just up the highway from us, and I think there's still one in the town. It's called Montclair, and it's yeah, I think there's still one there. But yeah, I there's a Botanica a couple towns away that I go that I like. I really like.
I'd love a Botanica.
Yeah,
I
they're nice.
mean, and those are hard to find because the one that I had access to have moved, and I'm not sure where they moved.
Yeah.
So, but we don't have a whole lot of a lot of the stores didn't survive COVID.
Right. A lot of them didn't because they were
Uh,
small businesses. And
yeah.
boy, yeah, surviving COVID was quite the challenge. Quite the challenge. So, for your group, did you already have Lammas? Are you having it, or what are you doing?
We actually were able to celebrate it on the 1st.
Ah, nice.
And we rented a shelter at one of the parks here,
Oh,
and it's a great one because it's secluded. It has a shelter. There's a flat-ish area for us to cast circle and do a spiral dance, which is what we typically do during Lammas,
nice.
and lots of food and clean bathrooms, which are always helpful.
Bonus. Always love that. That's
Yes,
great.
absolutely. How about you?
So we are having our celebration tomorrow night, and it's probably just going to be us. We do open up each of the Sabbats to the public and invite them. And since COVID, it has been fewer and fewer and fewer people coming. I mean, for a while, there was nobody coming, and it was just us because they had the restriction on how many people you could have, right?
Yes.
But then once that was lifted, it was still very few people coming.
Mhm.
And I think the world is just changing. I think,
Yeah.
there's so much online you can do. You can meet people like we met online, but
Yeah.
um, I mean, it wasn't like we were hunting for other witches. It just kind of happened. But
Yeah.
there are a lot of people on YouTube that do all sorts of different witchy stuff, rituals and spells and meditations and,
And a lot of them are really good.
yeah.
Some of them I don't resonate with me, and
Mhm.
I exercise my ability to go elsewhere, and
Yeah.
that's the cool thing about it.
Yeah. And a lot of them, I think, focus on um, creating your own space for ritual. And so they're geared more, I think, towards solitary,
Sure.
which makes sense because if you're looking online for stuff like that, then probably you don't have a group. But
Yeah.
I'm a part of a group and I'm still looking for stuff online because I want to meet people. I want to see what that greater community is really all about. And like I belong to a lot of Facebook groups that are witchy oriented,
Mhm.
and tarot oriented.
Sure.
I'm not a part of many astrology Facebook groups though, because I find them how can I say this and be politic about it? Unserious.
Okay.
I'll just say that.
No, I
um
understand that. I
yeah.
understand. Well, and you had mentioned that your Sabbat celebrations are open to the public. Our Sabbat celebrations are usually closed to either initiated members or people who are studying to become initiated members.
Mhm.
However, Lammas is the one that we do open it up to our close friends, the other, family members of members, and it's perfect for the idea of llamas. And so, you know,
Well, so that's a great segue. Why don't you tell everybody what you guys do for llamas?
well, part of what we do this is llamas is the first harvest. There are three harvests. There's Lammas, Mabon, and Samhain.
Mhm.
And so this first harvest is usually about like grain and those, and we invite other people partially because um, if, let's say, Colleen, your harvest is done before my, or your crops are ready for harvesting before mine, I'm going to help you harvest your crops, and then you're going to help me, and it's this sense of community. It's that first gathering of that. Let's get together and do that. And so we get together. We celebrate. We make sure that there's at least some bread, because bread is a big celebration part of it, for the food, and lots of fresh fruits and vegetables for the feasting. But we take time during our ritual. We do a spiral dance to
Okay.
help us build energy for, because this is thinking about what seeds we planted in the spring. This is when we see if those are harvesting, or are they ready to harvest?
Right.
What's the intention? And so that building up of that energy from the spiral dance um, helps us understand, yes, this has worked. I'm ready to harvest that, or, oh, I need to tend to it a little bit more.
Mhm.
So I feel like I talked just a whole heck of a lot there. Blah, blah,
Oh
blah.
no, that was great. That was really great.
So
Do you guys have in years past, do you ever make corn dollies on llamas?
yes, we have made corn dollies, and it's been a while since I've made one, but that's a
Someone
great.
this year did corn dollies on Beltane, and I had never done that before. And I was like, huh, I don't even know if you have corn at Beltane because you're just past planting at Beltane or on you haven't planted at Beltane. I thought it was very unique. And
Okay.
I just kind of went with it. It's on my fairy altar in my kitchen, and I'm just baffled because I don't know when to end her, when to throw her in the fire. I'm like,
right,
oh,
right. Yeah, the corn
yeah.
dollies, the corn dollies are a wonderful tradition.
Yeah.
And it's honoring the sun, it's
Yeah.
honoring the grains and all of those things. It's quite lovely.
Yeah, and if you're lucky enough to get the corn husks that still have some of the silk on it, you can give them either a very festive hat or a very nice hairdo. And
Yes, that's true.
mine are traditionally, I call mine Betty, and she sits with me. Now, are you supposed to throw her in the fire 6 months later or a year later? I'm trying to remember. I can't remember. 6 months later would be,
Well, 6 months later would be Imbolc. Yeah.
Imbolc, right?
Yeah. Oh, here. I have a chart.
Oh, thank you.
So, if this is the wheel of the year and this is north, which is Yule,
Yes.
then we actually go around this way.
Uh-huh.
There's the spring equinox and Beltane, and then Letha, and here is Lammas or Lunasa.
Yes.
And so this is definitely a celebration of the sun, and it's one of the cross-quarter holidays. It's not associated with an equinox,
right,
or a solstice.
Right.
So, and I know a lot. I'm learning a lot that some people, the cross quarters are the Sabats that people spend the most time celebrating.
Well, they just kind of end up that way because you've got, for instance, like Mabon is one that people don't, they forget about, and that's the equinox. But Samhain is a big deal.
Yeah.
Beltane, big deal.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's funny that way, the way it played out. I mean, thank goodness those little Christians stole all the holidays and put them, together on their calendars, because it makes it so nice for us.
Yeah. Well, yes, and one of the things that it took me a while to get used to is because this is the gateway into the fall.
Right.
Because the autumnal equinox is here. So this is the gateway, and we look at that and it's like, oh wow. So
right. And when people do Letha, they think that's the beginning of summer. It's midsummer. We are already in summer from starting really kind of at Beltane, really, because Ostara is spring. And that really, so Ostara and what's across from Ostara? Is that Beltane that's across from Ostara?
Ostara across from, it's Mabon.
Ostara and Mabon. I'm sorry. Okay. So the equinoxes start at a 0 degree astrologically. So they're really the beginning. Same with like now Yule and Letha start at a 0 as well. But for our planet, it isn't quite the beginning of that season. It really is the midpoint. We're already into that season. Yes. And that's what people don't get. They just don't get. So
yeah. And I think it's when we really pay attention and look at the traditions that we have, a lot of the traditions that we do are related to the Sabbat celebration.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Well, so I'm just going to say hi to Sharon here. Thank you for
Sharon.
Coming. So for us, for Lammas, I don't know what the High Priestess is going to do for this year, but in years past when I've done it, it's been all about the sun, all about the fire, the sun, the solar energy, and welcoming that sun. It also is a time of year where you can see a lot in the night sky.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that you can see Venus. Hang on, do I have my little thing here? Yes, let me just grab my little book. It'll tell me what's visible. So being able to see things in the night sky makes it a lot more fun to be outside.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. And you want to spend time outside at night because the sun goes down and it's not as hot.
Right. So yeah, Venus is still visible until about August 8th in the evening. Mars is visible right now. Anything else? Nope. But then at the end of August, you'll see Saturn in the night sky.
Mm.
But in the morning sky right now, well, starting August 18th, you'll be able to see Venus in the morning, and you can see Jupiter right now in the morning, and you can see Saturn. So looking at those planets, I think is really important because,
Yeah.
but fun fact, if a planet is visible to the naked eye, it is more powerful. Its impact on us is more powerful.
Oh, nice.
When you can actually see it in the sky. So being aware of the planets that you can see is actually really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to think what else we would do at Lammas. We do corn dollies, and we would very often at Lammas, being the first harvest, is we would take the time to write something either on a corn husk or an actual piece of paper. We would write something that we want to shed, that we want to get rid of, because in harvesting you're pulling apart the corn, you're pulling that husk off the corn. So to kind of replicate that in our own lives, in our own interior lives, you want to take away or shed something that you no longer need.
Yes.
And so that's what we would do. And we would do a, dance around the fire, and we would throw it into the fire when we're ready to let go of it. And hopefully it works. That's magic.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, and this is a great time for that magic because the sun is out.
Yes.
And, the sun is going to charge any sort of magic in a very powerful way.
And this year we had a full moon on August 1st. So.
And on August 30th, there's going to be a blue moon. So that's significantly important for our coven because we only initiate on a blue moon.
Oh my gosh, that's so great.
Yeah. So it's really, really powerful.
Aw, that's so cool. Yeah, this is a true blue moon because it is not only in the same month, but it is in the same season.
Yep.
So that's really, really the true definition of a blue moon.
Yes.
So that's going to be really important. And those moons are really powerful. This one we just had and the one we're going to have, really, really a lot of action. I mean, we saw just in the world, there was a lot of action around the full moon.
Oh,
and there's going to be more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And in my research, some of the stuff that I've also found is that traditionally Lunasa or Lammas is the time of year when you set up contracts for the coming year. So so it's like if you if you have a contract with someone to use their land, this is oftentimes where you actually pay up and you agree to do it again. And it's also a time when informal pairings happen. It's like, okay, are we going to, do we want to get married? And this might be that there's an oath about it, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Very
because it's that first harvest. Okay, can we make it through? Can we work together through these 3 challenging harvests? So it's fascinating.
Yeah. And it's not just 3 months, it's going over from one season to the next.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's good. Well, most unions, if they can last a year and a day, they can last.
That's exactly right.
They can get through all the seasons, and that's usually what you need to do to have good commitment. Although the Venus cycle is only 8 years, so what does that tell you about relationships? Get me over, but we don't know. Well, that I always like Lammas because to me it's a lower pressure But I think that's because I'm just sliding into my birthday time of year, and I just kind of love the month of August in general. So from the very beginning of August, I'm just feeling like, ah, yeah, August. This is my time. I love this. This is great. I don't know. I've always felt that since I was a kid.
Well, and that makes sense because, after all, aren't people celebrating you during this time of the year? Shouldn't they be? It's all about Colleen, everybody. Come on, you all know this. I mean, please tell me I'm not the only one.
Yeah. You're hilarious. Well, Venus and Leo, Sun in Libra. Yeah, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Well, and also, Colleen, I mean, thinking about that, this is a fun celebration. It's the time to play games. It's the time to be outside.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and
It's only the first harvest, so the kids aren't bored with it yet. They still have plenty of energy, even though the adults are probably like, oh, that was hard.
Well, yeah, and this is the time, while there's tending to the garden and to the animals and stuff like that, all of the hard work of the spring is done. You're not actually having to go out there and plant stuff. Now
No.
you're tending to it.
Right. And so the crops are full enough that probably there isn't as many weeds growing because it's just so full. The weeds are just
Exactly.
kind of, not taken over. And you have plenty. You have food. You have a harvest. So there's no lack. There's no feeling of lack. Everybody's feeling a sense of prosperity and abundance and completion and productivity and feeling, happy that they've accomplished the harvest itself. And they know they have these other two harvests coming up and things look rosy. Things look really, really good.
Absolutely.
As long as
Let me ask you, if I'm going to ask you a question, and by the way, Colleen doesn't know I'm going to ask her this, but if you were to do a type of magic this time of the year, what would it be?
Oh, prosperity.
Okay.
Oh, I would definitely do prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you've got the sun, which
Yeah.
is the color gold, which
Uh-huh.
symbolizes money. You've got the growth of the crops. You've got the abundance of the crops that you just pulled in. So, I mean, prosperity would be really, really good. I tell you what, I wouldn't do, which most people might think is weird, is I wouldn't do fertility. I wouldn't do a fertility spell because
Yeah.
we're cutting down everything.
Yeah, it's too
So,
late.
yeah, it's too late to do the fertility stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess you can, if you're around a full moon, you can always do some kinds of divination. But I think to do an actual spell, well, if it's the time of contracts, then you might do something for a successful union, whatever that union is, a partnership, a contract, a marriage contract, a business contract, so contracts, things, real estate would probably be good this time of year. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would also think about, I agree with you, definitely prosperity. I like the idea of unions. I'm also curious about, about timing things for healing, because sometimes healing, things need to be out in the sunlight and the wind to move all of that ick away. So, because isn't that how they used to like get cloths white? They would put it in the sun so it would bleach it.
Yes, that's true. And also trying to remove dis-ease from your body is, it's symbolized by the harvest. The harvest is literally cutting things out or cutting things down. But the sunlight along with that would be, very powerful for healing, I would think.
Well, and with anything, people's, their mileage may vary. You can do all of those things. You can do healing work any time of the year. It's just, it's what's going on around you. This is full sun. Then use that power. And of course, I'm just learning some astrology. So, paying attention to what's up in the sky to support you. So
absolutely. Depending on the kind of healing that you're doing, I would tend to put that towards a new moon rather than a full moon,
Sure.
because the full moon is going to grow things. It's going to make things bigger. So we don't want the disease to get bigger.
That's true.
Right. So if you want something to be removed or excised or whatever, I would use the new moon for that. But the symbolism of the harvest can also do that. So when you're working with that energy, you just have to be very, very, I think in this instance, more exact about what you're trying to accomplish, so that you're not just fooling yourself that, oh, that corresponds to that, so I'll just, because you could kind of mess that up a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you've got to take time to do it. So
yeah, to really design it. Mm-hmm.
I see Beth, Aspasia Rising, says, Gerald, I was outside picking weeds and every insect there bit me. I'm watching and scratching and watching.
Oh,
Aw. Bummer.
try eating garlic. I don't know. Sometimes that helps keep them away. Or wearing lavender. Some of them don't like lavender. But it's different for everybody.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's an exciting thing is noticing what's going on around you and allow that to be part of the magic, because that's fun. I mean, Maybon, there's a whole lot of festivities outside because everybody's crazy because they've been holed up inside. But and for me, Lammas is that that wonderful thing of the kids are out of school, they're not quite yet over it, and they're not dreading going back to school.
Mm-mm.
So
yeah, Lammas is nice. I'm thinking too that the image when you cut down, like I always think of corn when I think of harvest, but Lammas is also harvesting wheat. And when you harvest wheat, you bundle it, which I think is where all of the contracts come in. You've got all this stuff. So how do you pay for something? I'll give you 8 bundles of wheat for that.
Exactly.
You've got something to trade. And so the bundling is also just good in general for relationships. We're a bundle now. Now we're bundled. Now we're going to be together. So, that kind of works too.
It's a great image. It's a great image to help remember that. So
yeah. So, I mean, beyond all of these things, I think Lammas is one of those kind of simple Sabbats. I don't think it's got like 43,000 things going on. I think it's just that. It's just sunlight, children running around barefoot and having fun, and you've harvested, you have plenty, and you're happy.
Yes. And I
think that's it,
Well, and I think when if you work with deity, you're going to want any deities that are associated with the earth and the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And probably water, because you need water in this heat.
Yes, that's true. And that will balance. Because
Exactly.
then you'll get the water, the sun, the water, but you'll probably then also get the male and female. And that's a nice balance. I always like Apollo.
Mm-hmm.
Apollo is a good one. And, Lu, you can always call in Lu. You can always, bring him in. Lunasa, it's named after him. I'm trying to think what we did. I did a Lammas one year where I had found this book that was fascinating to me. I'm sure everybody else was like, yeah, sure. Okay, Colleen. Yeah, it's really great. But it was a geologist or an archaeologist or something who had retranslated a bunch of hieroglyphics from one of the 3 big pyramids, where it was rituals that they had done for certain Sabbats. And so this ritual was the fire, the solar ritual for the time of year that would be Lammas. But in Egypt, they only have 3 seasons. They don't have 4 seasons. So I don't know how, our system would work in Egypt because these things just don't exist. But this one did. And it coincided with the time that when the pyramid lines up to see the star Sirius, because they were real big into the star Sirius. It's a big star for them. And so a lot of this was about the boat that, you know, every night you get in the boat and you die and you go back around the earth, and then you come back and you, oh wait, I guess it's the other way, and you come back around and then you rise in the morning and you're reborn in the morning, right? So it was all about this death and rebirth thing, but all about llamas. And it was a play within a play. So I had to have somebody play the parts of the four gods. We had Newt, we had Isis, we had who was it? Ra, and maybe one of the other female deities. I don't know. It was great. And it was great. It was really fun. And I have the thing somewhere. It was really a fun ritual. I just stood there and narrated, and I had all these other people do the work. But it was really interesting for the people who watched, because it showed what gratitude for the harvest really looked like. You know, like they were very serious about their gratitude for everything that came to them. The Nile rising, the flooding was a blessing. The crops that they could grow were a blessing. The sun was a blessing. The sun every single day was a blessing. And it was really humbling to see how sincere they were about all of this tradition. And I wish I remembered more of the details of the ritual, but it was really, really fun. It was really fun to do.
I think that's a really powerful, because when we get out of our heads and into our bodies and act out and to move, I mean, it's so powerful, because in the spring we're planting seeds of what we want to have happen, and if we're lucky, we have kept up with what we needed to do, and now we're starting to see that there's that sense of reward and that satisfaction. So it's really amazing.
Yeah, and I think so many times we just get in a rut in our everyday lives, and we're just like, you know, get up, get the coffee, go to work, come home, watch some stupid TV, go to bed. You know, it's just like we're on this little hamster wheel of life, and it's very easy when you're seeing life through that lens to not be super grateful for what you're doing, because it's a drudge, because it just feels like a goddamn chore to live like that. I think it's really, really important to have something in your life like we do that has you stop, and it's trite, but smell the roses. You know, it just to appreciate your role in the universe, that you are divine child of the universe, of God, of source, of the one, Ra, whatever you call it, that you really, really acknowledge that from time to time. And the Sabbats are about 6 to 8 weeks apart. So that's fine. That's plenty. You know, you don't have to be standing around every day going, I'm a divine child of the universe, you know, but you do have to remember it, and you do have to honor it. You do have to really take it seriously and be sincere. If it doesn't mean anything to you, then don't do that. But if you can grasp that, your role in this universe, your teeny tiny little role, and that is so significant, that is so important, and that every single one of us are so important. That's such a lovely thing to honor. It's so beautiful.
It truly is. And it doesn't have to be a huge celebration or a big party to do that. It needs to be a genuine and authentic moment of you sensing yourself in that.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you can do a big party, I'm not going to turn down.
Go for it. Yeah.
I mean, especially now, because it's the sun. It's like, let's party.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, let's all be out there.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the idea of and okay, this is just popping in my head. The idea is, since we're not gardening, we're not an agricultural based society anymore, because we can get lots of what we need. But when you go to the store, notice what is fresh and in season. eat those because that's honoring the cycle
Yes.
of life.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. And you know, there's nothing wrong with dovetailing what you already honor with that cycle. For instance, a little further on when we celebrate, my coven pronounces it Mabon because we have this woman who's like 150 years old and she told us it's Mabon, so we say Mabon. So
Okay.
that's what I'm talking about, the same Sabat as Gerald, but he pronounces it Mabon and I pronounce it Mabon. So
Yeah.
when I first had to do Mabon, one of the things that I spoke about was the feeling of anticipation and excitement that I've always had since a child because of school starting.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But it's the same anticipation and excitement that I have because it is the changing of the light and dark half of the year.
Yes.
That's exciting for me. I'm a little bit dark. I like the dark half of the year. I
Yeah.
like talking to the dead. I like my ancestors. I like all that witchy, gooey, dark stuff. You know, like I love that shit. And
Yeah.
so for me, getting excited about that is the same thing about as getting excited about Mabon, but in my, you know, reptile brain, I just think of it as, oh, I'm getting excited because I got excited when school started. So it's the same thing. I'm just getting a little bit deeper or higher. I don't know how you want to think of it, level to it,
Yeah.
you know, not just my reptile brain.
Well, okay, so I would say people who are watching in chat right now, I'd love to see people put in what are the activities you think about and you do around August 1st, the
Yeah.
first week in August. I would be very curious to see because it's probably not a huge stretch from anything we're talking about.
Well, Aspasia is out there picking weeds and
Yes.
getting bit by bugs. So we know what she's doing. Let's see
Yeah.
what else.
No. And she said, I will try lavender.
Oh, good. It might work. It might help. If nothing else, it will soothe the skin around the bite.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's going to quell the itching, but it will soothe the actual bit part.
Absolutely.
Okay, we getting any answers? I'm going up in the chat to look at stuff.
Not yet, but
Okay.
people have come in and they've gone and they're rotated. So, what are you doing this time of the year? That's the good curiosity for you. Um, and as a kid, for me, one of the neighbors had a swimming pool, so I was out swimming all day, and so I was roasting my skin, and I was basically back to towhead hair color because of that so much sun. So
Yeah. Yeah. That was me too. We had a pool in our backyard and our house was the house everybody came to swim. And
nice.
so by August 1st, it was filled with bodies from sun up to sundown, even after sundown, because we had lights in the pool.
Yeah.
But everybody was just in and out of that pool all day long. So we were, you know, it was kind of a nonstop party, like the whole summer. You know, my mom just routinely went to the store and just bought, you know, hamburgers and hot dogs for an army and brought it home
Yeah.
and threw it on the barbecue. And by the time my dad got home, my mom was like, here's the flipper. You do the burgers. I'm done. Like she'd
I'm
been doing
done
it
with
all
you.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been doing this all day.
I've been doing this all day. And, you know, me, I love swimming and I was just in the pool from, you know, dawn till dusk, just
Yeah.
all the time. But now my daughters are born around this time of year. One has a birthday July 26th and one has a birthday August 8th. So I'm thinking about my kids and birthdays and happiness and fun and, you know, let's go do a spa day together or something. Like it's still fun and
Oh yeah.
joyous.
That's beautiful. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, because like my parents got married in August. My mom's birthday is in August.
Oh,
So, I mean, it's fun.
yeah, it's a fun time of year. It's a really fun time of year. Even though nowadays I don't take a big vacation, but I do take a little time off for my daughter's birthdays. And we do tend to, one of the things that we used to do for a couple of years in a row is we'd just buy a stupid little baby pool at Walmart and we'd go out in the backyard, we'd stick our toes in the baby pool and we'd drink margaritas. And that was our vacation.
I like that. I like that. You know what I want now? I actually want some mead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I haven't had mead in a long time.
I think I have a bottle in the fridge that's been in there since last year. So I think when this is done, I'll go down and have me a little cup. So
Yeah.
did you get anybody? Let's see. Sending prayers, big hugs. Okay, Aspazi says, I start to feel more energy around this time. I'm not a summer person. I too like the darker months. Aspasia, please DM me, honey. I think we're of the same ilk. I think I think we belong together.
Yeah, Beth is amazing, and vast information.
Oh.
So it's wonderful resource. Oh, and this is a side note. In my astrological chart,
Uh-huh.
all but one of my planets and all that stuff is below the horizon line. It's in the lower part.
Oh my gosh. And here you are on YouTube? I can't believe that.
Well,
all right.
Yeah.
So you got to give me all your data now. We
Well,
can do it offline, so you don't have to make it public.
yeah. So,
We'll
but
do it
yeah.
Okay.
So, but it's interesting, and it makes sense to me because of different alignments. So I think it's my Saturn is the one that's in, what house is it in? Oh, anyhow, this isn't that conversation.
Yeah.
So
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. So August has always been a good month for me, although I did have 2 major relationships split up in August, but that was probably really great for me, actually, those 2. But usually, like I said, I have that anticipation feeling of the upcoming fall. And I just feel like it's a new beginning. And now for me, my birthday is October 1st. So for me, August and September is the time that I'm sliding into home place, right?
Sure.
I'm sliding into that birthday time. And I just feel more energetic too. Aspasia rising. I totally feel that. I just feel the energy starting to build, and I really, really like the feeling. I don't feel like the aches and pains so much. I don't feel like, even if I've not gotten enough sleep, I still, like today, I woke up at 6. I don't even know what time I went to bed, but I just like woke up and I was like ready to go. I'm sure I will crash tonight because I probably didn't get enough sleep.
Of course.
But I really like that. And another thing that I really like with Lammas that is, and this is a little weird, but it is a very hot time of year, right? So whenever we have the fires, and we always dance around a fire, right? So whenever we have the fires, that's the fire that I worry the most about, like getting out of control. There's like so much fire energy, so much solar energy. There's the Leo energy, and then there's a real fire, and then, and so
that makes sense, though. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Because things can get dry in August,
Yes.
We've had a very wet summer here, so this year probably won't be bad at all. But I do think about, that worrying about that makes it more exciting. Is that perverse?
No, because there's that anxiety and then that tension, and tension can be very, tension is dynamic.
It's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perverse, but exciting.
Yeah. One of the things that, because I did, hashtag I'm an overachiever. Everybody knows that. So if I can, I want to talk a little bit about some of the other stuff that I have written down.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Because thinking about the season and this time of the year, Lunasa or Lammas, this is it's associated with summer. So in my tradition, it's south, and it's associated with the suit of wands, and the tools are like the wand and the staff.
Fire.
Yeah, and the colors associated with it, vibrant colors, all of the vibrant colors that you see around. And we're talking about, this year we've got 2 full moons in the month of August.
Yes. Very exciting.
Gems that, if you want to put them out and charge them under the moons, any moon or any gem that is fire related, that's red, that's orange. So things like, what do you have?
Honey calcite.
Yes. Tiger's eye, amber, rutilated quartz, carnelian, citrine,
Yeah.
all of those things are
I
just,
love those.
this is, let's plan ahead. If this is the first harvest, Colleen, let's plan ahead. And if I know that I get a little bit of down in the dumps and I have seasonal affective disorder, hashtag for entertainment purposes only, charge these stones during this time of the year.
Yes.
And then you can access those when it's cold, when it's Yule and that. So
Very, very smart.
so
Very, very smart. I love that.
and
That is so smart.
well, thank you. And also if we're thinking about all of the herbs that are going on around us, harvest them now because it's the first harvest.
Mhm.
Harvest them in that energy, and then you can dry them out. You can use them in tinctures. You can use them in with any various ritual.
Mhm.
And if you harvest it, you're going to bring that energy with you of the time of harvest.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's really, really true. It's funny. I keep looking at my garden and thinking that, oh, it's too early to harvest. I just planted it and they look so nice, but it is time to harvest them. I have a ton of lavender and sage and oregano to harvest. I got to get
Oh,
out there.
and mint is going
Oh,
crazy this time
my
of year.
mint is all over the place. Yes, I got to
Yeah.
do the mint. Yeah.
I mean, and especially if you're doing some sort of magic working, spell working for prosperity,
Mhm.
mint is a go-to for that. It's
Yeah.
so prolific.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wonder if I'm getting more readings because my mint just exploded, or did my mint explode because I'm getting more readings? Thoughts? Think,
Yes.
think about it.
Yeah.
Which one came first? Chicken, egg? Come on. Something to think about.
Well, yeah, and the key thing with that is what's important then is that you appreciate what you have, both of those things, that your mint has exploded and your readings. By the way, contact her if you want a reading, people.
Thank you.
And so it doesn't matter which came first, the chicken or the egg. What matters is that you appreciate it,
Yeah. Yeah.
because appreciating it, especially in the full sun, look at me in the full sun,
Mhm.
it tells the universe, I want more of this.
That's so true. That is so true. And I this year I did now last year I didn't have like flowers put in or anything. I was just kind of like in recovery from COVID times, like my garden just got overgrown and no flowers came back. And I did have my herbs come back. They're very nice. They come back year
Mhm.
after year. But it was just kind of I didn't, I didn't care. Now this year, I really cared. It was really important to me to, replace the dead plants, make sure that I had nice flowers in there. I even consented to spraying them with some sort of a spray to keep the deer from eating the flowers,
Sure.
but I only sprayed it on the flowers, which I should have sprayed it on everything because the deer
Yeah.
still came in, but whatever. So I have to figure that balance. But I so appreciated having that beautiful garden when I came home every night from work. When I looked at that garden, I just had to stand out there for a few minutes every night and be like, I love this. This is so pretty.
Yeah.
And
That's
I have
wonderful.
noticed too that I've really been enjoying my home a lot more too. I'm just really like, I really like the way my home looks and just really appreciating it, which it's not like I didn't appreciate it before, but I've just been spending maybe an inordinate amount of time appreciating my home.
Well, but
Love it.
you Colleen, you set intentions for it. And that's the first harvest of it. You get home and you go, wow, this looks really good. I've made some good decisions around this and it's working.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. It really is. I'm very happy with that. I'm
Um,
very, very happy with that.
Plucky Heroine said earlier on, I'm starting to notice the days shortening, preparing for the autumnal equinox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and if you're sensitive at all to that full moon that we just had on the 1st, that would really, if you hadn't noticed before then, that would really be like running up your spine with that information, because
Yeah.
big full moon there. But yeah, I noticed that too. And again, it's like we have these markers. The Sabbats are markers of what's going on on the earth. And for a lot of people, they think, oh, that's the beginning. But usually no, it's really kind of the middle. I mean, they do call it the cross quarters, the ones in between the solstice and the equinox. But the solstices and the equinox, those are the ones that fall on the astrological 0 degree of that season.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And when you start the season on that 0 degree, it actually has started kind of before.
Yeah.
So you have then you have the cross quarter Sabbats, and they usually fall around the 15th degree of those signs. And it's not that the signs determine the seasons, it's just the way it breaks up the year. It's just a mathematical equation.
Yeah.
Really. But that 0 degree, you would think that that means the beginning. It doesn't. When you hit Letha, when you hit midsummer, it's midsummer. It's the middle of summer. When you have Imbolc, that's the beginning of winter. That cross quarter is really the beginning of not winter, of spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cross quarter is really the beginning of spring, because you can already see the crocus popping through and the little, what are those other things that come up? But anyway, you can already see them happening already under the ground. Life is happening. So now that we're in this first harvest, we're seeing that there's going to be 3, right? There's going to be Lammas, and then Mabon, and then Samhain. And so this little quarter of the year is all about harvesting.
And we need a good harvest season to survive the others.
Right.
So Plucky Heroine said August is fire season in California.
It's fire season in a lot of states.
Yeah. And Beth, Aspasia Rising, said, there is no linear first or second. It's a circle. Mint, readings, mint.
Thank you. Thanks for the reminder. Good one.
But well, and that's a good thing to remember. I mean, I believe when we can sit with something and go, oh, I hadn't really thought of it that way. It's like that's the moment of energy, and it's like ooh, I like that. That's going to keep me going for a while.
Yeah.
So
and all these choices that we make, we may think that we're choosing, oh, I just chose mint because I like the taste of it. I like to chew on the leaves. I like to throw it in my tea. I like to make tea with it. I just kind of like mint. But it was a choice to begin to delve into prosperity and to propagate more and more prosperity, because mint propagates quite easily, as most of us know who have grown it.
Oh yeah.
And it grows all over the place. But isn't that a lovely metaphor? That I used to tell everybody, when like my kids, when they were first starting to work, they would be like, oh, I hate this job. I'm going to find another job. I'm just going to quit. And I'm like, don't quit that job. Right. Because the more you work, the more you work. But if you stop work, now you are a object not in motion that has to get back in motion. So the more you work, the more you work. Never just stop work until you have another gig. And they're like, Mom, that was a smart thing to do.
Oh, what a precious moment. Mom, you were right.
Yeah, really precious. Very, very precious.
But, Beth also said, I believe linear is a man-made construct. There's nothing linear in nature.
Not really.
No. I mean,
to our eyes, when a plant dies and when a season changes and you see no leaves on the trees or you see no plants above the ground, to our eyes, we think that's dead, zero. Everything that comes after that is the beginning, right? But really, that's just another part of the cycle. So you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. However, humans have these constructs because their teeny tiny little brains have to wrap themselves around the whole world,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so we're idiots, but some of us can think beyond, and we
Well,
love each other anyway, right?
yes. I mean, and I think, it's when we have, I think it's, can you imagine seeing something dying for the first time and not knowing if it was going to come back?
That's what all the Egyptian rituals and stories are all about.
It's
They're all
amazing.
about. Yeah,
It's fascinating.
yeah, yeah. Just the idea that when they lay down and close their eyes at night, will they be alive in the morning? Will they come back to life in the morning?
Mhm.
That was their concept. So, like, wow,
It's amazing.
wow, that is,
Yeah.
yeah. Humans have evolved quite a bit.
Yes, and I think as we think about Lammas and Lunasa, whatever you want to call it, that first harvest,
Mhm.
there's a beauty in understanding the timing of it, because if you harvest too early, it's not going to be an appropriate harvest, and if you don't harvest in the right time, then things are going to be lost.
Right.
So it's that tension
Yep.
that we were talking about, and it's like we have to pay attention to it. We have to get our hands into what's going on
Yeah.
so that it's like, okay, is this ready? I mean, farmers can look at their corn and they can tell just by the tassels and
Right.
the color and all of that stuff. And I mean, it's just one of those things. I don't have that anymore, and I appreciate those people who are actually smart enough to find it and to pay attention
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah. It's funny. Have you ever seen zucchini growing or any
Um,
kind of squash?
it's been a while, but isn't it? It's like it's this big, and then suddenly it's this big.
Yeah, so knowing the moment to pick zucchini is really important because if you're just a person that just thinks bigger is better, you just let it sit there and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's not good to eat.
Yeah,
It's not, the only thing it would be good is maybe dog food or cat food, like
yeah,
just filler. But if you know the right time, and also the blossoms, you can eat the blossoms too. Those are fabulous. Um, little breading, little fry. Okay. So anyway, but if you know the moment to pick the zucchini, that's a delectable vegetable. That is just a beautiful thing to eat. Let it go too long, not so much.
yeah.
And in most vegetables, it's very obvious that you've let it go too long. But the zucchini really hides its fate.
True. Oh, yeah.
It just
And
looks like, oh, a big, beautiful zucchini. Take it to the 4-H fair, win a
yeah,
prize.
win a blue ribbon for it, but you can't eat it.
Right,
You have to
exactly.
give it to the rabbits and the animals.
Exactly. I wonder if that's probably about the same for pumpkins too. Those humongous pumpkins that they get.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Beth added, Colleen, also we humans don't see all the growth and strength that's happening underground during the cold months.
Exactly. We don't. We don't. I mean, I, I know that people have studied it, right? And so now they can tell us what they see, what really has happened, but we don't see it, and we just kind of take it for granted,
Yeah,
But yeah, I know. Teeny tiny human brains. Sometimes we just don't quite understand what's right before our eyes. Like
that's
if we just really witnessed it, we would get it. We would understand.
yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, and the other thing is every year is similar. It's not exactly the same.
that's a very good point. That's a really good point because so many people are just like, well, last year it just did this, so it's going to do the same thing again. Teeny tiny brain. You just can't make those kinds of assumptions
Yeah.
because it's just, especially these days. You know, we've had a lot of very mild winters here, but I'm just waiting because probably next winter could be just a whopper. We've really lucked out in New Jersey this summer. We had some semblance of a heat wave, but nothing like they've had in other parts of the
Oh
country.
my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
We've just been really, really fortunate to have bypassed that, but it's going to come. We'll get our due.
Yeah. Well, and my sister-in-law, she is a strawberry farmer,
Oh, I
and
love strawberries.
this year, last year was a great year for them.
Mm-hmm.
This year, the crop failed
Oh,
because it was, there was too much rain during parts of it, and then there was not any rain during the other parts of it, and it was a flop.
and was it either California or Florida? Didn't they just like lose all their oranges? They
Oh my
had
gosh.
they had like a frost or something, and it just
Oh
killed
yeah, I did hear
everything.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I can't remember if it was Florida or California, and I just thought, wow, that's gonna make OJ go up.
Oh my gosh,
we're
yeah.
really gonna suffer from
Yeah.
that. I don't usually buy orange juice like that, so
So
don't
if
tempt me.
I will also say, if you're wanting to cook food that's nice and appropriate for this time of the year, especially for a Lammas or Lunasa celebration, anything with corn in it, anything with wheat in it, anything, it's not gluten free, but also anything that's fresh. And
Mhm.
it's so really powerful. And use those seasonings that are spicy and have that heat of the sun, you
Yes,
know. So
yes, absolutely. Yeah. And also if you're going to use fruits with your vegetables, oranges, symbolizing the sun, you can use lemons, but they're a little bitter. So I would, really stick more with oranges, but there's clementines and tangerines and oranges and blood oranges. And, there's so
yeah.
many varieties that you can get if you want to. Um, and for the gluten-free crowd, there are a lot of things that, especially Middle Eastern recipes, there's a lot of things that you can cook that would be, or bake or whatever, that would be representative of the Sabbat, but using slightly different ingredients. There's
Sure.
so many things that you can cook, or just use gluten-free flour for the things that you bake. I think the year we did that Egyptian Sun Festival, I cooked a dessert that was a lot like baklava, but it was everything was gluten free.
Oh, nice.
And it was, yeah, and that came out really, really nice. We had a lentil and rice dish, and we had, of course, as many salad things as we could throw out there because it's,
Yeah.
the time of fresh vegetables. So, you can use your imagination.
Oh, one thing that I actually made potato focaccia, which was the bread that I wanted
Oh,
to
oh,
take.
nice.
But I also made a pickled red onion and cucumber salad.
Yum.
And the pickled red onions, I actually put some peppers in, some spicy peppers. So it was really tasty.
Nice. That sounds really,
Really
really
tasty.
nice. Yeah, cucumbers are always really nice and refreshing in this time of year too. So all of those salads where you might have cucumber in it are going to be great, and a little mint or even
Mhm.
parsley or something that kind of. I think a lot of the Middle Eastern Mediterranean dishes are just really wonderful for this time of year because
Absolutely.
they're refreshing. You get the heat of the sun with the spiciness on your main courses, and then your salads have all that counterbalancing taste.
That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah, really nice.
Refreshing is a great word because that's what we need during this time of the year
Yeah,
because of all of the heat and the hard work.
yeah, not just sweet tea. That's not the only thing that's
No,
refreshing.
no, no. And Beth said I had to grab an apricot just now. All this yummy fruit talk.
Yeah, true, true, true. But that's all part of doing a ritual. You learn about the ritual, you talk about it, you have a little activity, you raise some energy, and then you eat. You have to eat. I mean,
You
that's all part of
celebrate.
it.
Yeah.
You celebrate, absolutely. That energy has to be nourished.
Well, yeah, that energy has to be nourished, and I love the idea of is we've built all that energy up, especially like when we did the spiral dance. We're
Yeah,
all building up this energy. We did. I'm not going to tell you the intention that we had while we were building it, but I mean, it was great, and it was that physical movement in the spiral, which is powerful
Mm.
in sacred space, and
Mhm.
then boy, when you release it, it's like whoosh.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
amazing.
That's so exciting when you do rituals outdoors because you people just feel freer. I think like a lot of our rituals this year, we've been rained out of being outdoors. I don't think we've had but one ritual outdoors this whole year. And the one we had outdoors was really, really special because it was outdoors.
Yeah.
We could actually have the fire and everything. I don't know what's going to happen. We're having a thunderstorm here tonight. We've been having so many thunderstorms.
Oh,
And we have a small crowd for tomorrow night. So I don't know if everybody's going to want to set up everything to do the ritual or not. And plus it might still be soggy out there because when it's been raining in these storms,
yeah.
it's just like a marsh in the backyard. So I don't know if we'll go out or not, but it is nice to be outside when you do raise energy because then when you let it go, you're letting it go up to the sky and down to the earth and really letting it go, really
Yes.
letting it go do its work. Whereas when you're inside, sometimes we'll even open the cellar doors to the outside just so that we can just make all that energy go, you know?
That is so true, and that's really it's that genuine connection. It's there. It's true.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And we're, the group has done work long, together long enough that, it's not just a presentation, we're there, we're really doing it.
Yeah.
And so we got to do something with that energy. Otherwise it would just be all, we don't want
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's too bottled up, and then it's going to pop sideways, and that's
Yeah.
not a
That,
good thing.
and that's not our intention. And so we don't want that, so yeah, everybody works towards that. But I do like working with my group. It's really nice to have a group of people that you when they come in my house, I understand their energy. I feel good with their energy. I'm comfortable with their energy. And then when we do things with that energy, I'm totally trusting and happy with it. Like I don't have to worry about any weird energy coming in. It's just like
And
it's totally
perfect
happy.
love and perfect trust.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Well, and like my experiences is that the people that I celebrate with, they elevate the energy. Yeah,
Yeah.
when I'm with these people, we immediately know how to turn up that energetic volume,
Nice.
and it's great. It's
Right.
so
Do you
powerful.
do you guys do group healings
We
for each
do.
other?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's nice. That's
yeah.
nice. That's really good. We usually always do a meditation within the circle once we cast circle. And I must say, I think we all really look forward to those meditations because it has almost become more important than the discussion, then the spell work, then whatever activity we're doing, then the food. The meditation is really because it's amplified by all those people. So it's much more powerful than just doing it alone. And I really, really look forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I love that. And I think that because that also just makes sense because it's safe. You've
Yeah.
been removed out of time and space when you cast circle.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Right.
it's sometimes, I've been in things where sometimes it feels like, boy, this lasted a really long time and it was only 20
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? I think that's wild. I'm just noticing Beth's comment there. Wish I had that here where I live. I'm very solitary except for family since I moved. And I was just thinking, Gerald, something that you and I should try to plan for the future is we could pre-record some meditations and
Oh,
release them for the Sabbats. I think that would be really nice for people that don't have a group.
mhm.
Because
That could be helpful.
yeah, that would be. I like doing meditations online. I think because it's saved. It's something you can always come back to, and I find that it's just as powerful listening to the recording as it is be, the first time live or even just doing it in person, it's still very, very powerful. So we should try to do that because we could record that ahead of time and then we could release it for the Sabbat and then people would have it for the Sabbath. So
yeah. Kelly's Creative Dreams says hello. Good to see you, Kelly. And then Book Bewitched said that would be wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be really nice. Just a little offering from us for the greater community to be able to celebrate the Sabbats. I think that would be really good.
Yeah.
Cool.
And yeah, and I think what's really important for me is I don't want to do the same thing every year.
Yeah.
I want it to grow and evolve as I have grown and evolved, and the members also grow and evolve.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, what our coven is a teaching coven, and so every Sabbath it's a different high priestess running it. And so everybody, of course, tries to be different, but there are always things that are consistent from year to year about that Sabbath, mainly the time of year that it is and the correspondences that get brought up. That usually is the same. But beyond that, people bring in different guest deities and they have different things to talk about. The meditation and spell work is usually different. The food's usually different. The message is usually different. So it is pretty different. Mine tended to go way off the reservation because I'm
Have
like
people
that.
met you? Yeah. Have they met you? Of course it's gone.
Yeah, of course. But in doing that, that was a wonderful exploration for me, and to be able to share it with all of them was just amazing. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that.
That's truly powerful.
Yeah, it was really good for me. So. Wow.
Boy, we've been over an hour. This is
yes.
And there is a lot of love for the idea of recording some of those meditations.
Well, let's get on that. I think that's great. I've got a few I could pull out from the past that we could start with. I'm sure you have a few. We can alternate or something. So let's flesh that out and do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, like you said, we have been on over an hour, and I think that we have covered the waterfront. Did you get through all of your stuff?
Yes, I did.
Good. No, I want to honor that because I usually am just right there with you with 45 pages of notes and all of that stuff. I've just been really, really busy with my civilian job and other stuff. And I'm so grateful that you did all of that research because that really rounds it out and fleshes it out. So it's not just, you and me just kind of reminiscing over past rituals, It really gives more information. And I think that's important for people.
And I love the idea of this is the first harvest, and it harkens back to the springtime when we were planting things, actual physical things, or we were planting our intentions. What am I going to manifest? What am I going to, magic is all about, the one thing that you can change when you do magic is yourself. So how are you going to support yourself and evolve? And this is that first check-in because it's the full sun.
Yes.
Where we can go, how am I doing with that?
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So it is really, really important.
It is.
So I think next time we will be talking about Mabon.
Yes.
And hopefully I won't be too stressed out with all the fair stuff. Hopefully it'll be great.
Well, you got your mint growing, so
I do have my mint growing. So when is Mabon? Let me look at my thing here. I know it's September.
Either the 22nd, 23rd.
Yeah. Now our ritual is Saturday the 23rd. So we're gonna probably do it on the 22nd, I guess, if we can.
I have to find out when we're celebrating ours.
Okay, yeah, let me know because
be the 23rd, yeah.
Yeah, because if not, maybe we could record it earlier on Thursday the 21st.
Okay.
I might be able to do that.
We
Yeah,
can
because
figure this out.
yeah. Oh, this is always lovely. I always enjoy these videos. These are, kind of like low stress and not talking about politics and just talking
Mhm.
about things that I love and that are very close to my heart. So I feel very good about this.
I am so honored that you have asked me to join in these conversations. I like these conversations as well. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, we
Really.
all do so many different things,
Mm-hmm.
and this is important to me, and I
Yeah.
hope sharing it is helpful for somebody who's watching.
Ah, that's a beautiful, beautiful message. I'm sure it is. I mean, we have quite a few people watching, so I'm sure it is very important to them.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for being in the chat. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you to the people who are moderating. And I just so appreciate that you guys want to hear our conversation about This is really, really meaningful to both me and Gerald. And
Absolutely.
Gerald, thank you so much for all of your input and effort and time and research and everything and energy. It's just, I really, really enjoy this more than you know. It's just really,
I
really
love it.
beautiful. So happy Lammas. Have a
Yes.
beautiful Lammas. Blessed Lammas. I guess you've
Blessed
already
be.
celebrated, but actually, I think the actual astrological date of Lammas is actually not until what day? It's Friday, Sunday, the 6th this year, because it's moving backwards a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
So
thank you,
anyway,
Kelly's Creative Dreams, for subscribing. I appreciate that.
oh yeah, thank you.
Well, and and we're actually together on Sunday.
Yes, we're doing polytarology on Sunday. Yeah, we'll have a whole group of people, so that'll be fun.
Love it.
Really, really fun. All right, everyone, we're going to stop now. Thank you so much. Happy Llamas, happy beautiful Lionsgate and all of that junk, whatever that means. And hopefully you'll join us on Sunday. Me and Gerald will be back together with a few other people doing polytarology. And we
Yes,
love you
yes,
all.
yes.
And thank you so much. And we're
Thank
going
you.
to say sayonara. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.